Okay, so let's do it. Let's talk about Beyonce. And let's talk about Rumi. Okay, let's even talk about Blue Ivy. So there's a conversation online going around talking about if Rumi is on the spectrum. Now, before I even talk about Rumi, I'm going to tell you guys that I am a late self-diagnosed autistic woman, right? And if you know anything about autism, you know that one of the traits of autism is to go down research binges. I'm not saying that if you are a person who likes to research, that means you have autism. I'm just telling you a trait, right? So when a lot of us late diagnosed people discover that we are on the spectrum, autism specifically, we tend to research till we can't research no more. Autism is defined as a social deficit. But let me continue. When I realized that I was on the spectrum, I started doing research about the traits. I did something which was what a lot of people do when they find out they're on the spectrum. They start to consider that people around them, their friends, their family members, being that it may be genetic, because they're still studying autism. It may be genetic, that who else has these traits like me. So there was something that I did, and I just thought, wow, I want to look at celebrities and see who I think may be on the spectrum. One of my first guesses was Beyonce. I said, I think Beyonce's on the spectrum because of the social deficits that Beyonce shows. I'm not diagnosing Beyonce. And I know you black people love to drown people out when they start talking about something and they're throwing out ideas. You guys will go, oh God, who told y'all that y'all could diagnose me? I'm not diagnosing her. I'm starting a conversation, and we're allowed to do that. I know you guys hate that, but we are allowed to do that. But I considered Beyonce because Beyonce does not speak to the public, right? And anybody who is autistic knows that we don't really like to interact with people. All of us are not Beyonce though, and we cannot make it a norm for us to walk around and not speak. We have to speak, right? So that was one thing I consider. I also consider, and this is no shade, I love Beyonce, but she's very robotic, and it always looks like she's uncomfortable or she's really trying to smile and appear to be laid back and like natural, but she always looks forced. This is something that you guys may not agree with me. This is just something that I saw, right? She's a creative genius. We all know that we're like creatives. Us on the spectrum, we're creatives. You know, stuff like that. But even when she's acting on The Lion King, I'm sorry, this is no shade, but when she's doing voiceovers, it kind of sounds like she can't escape her Beyonce voice. She can't act, right? And a lot of people on the spectrum cannot blend in. It's our fucking kryptonite, being social. We don't like it. And people call us fake so much in our life. Like, we're not fake, we're just not good at being fake. So it looks like we're fake, right? We know that about autism. So I said maybe Beyonce. And then when Blue Ivy hit the scene, and I said, wow, Blue Ivy seems kind of robotic too. Listen, I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm just showing you what I picked up. And another trait of autism is pattern recognition, being very observant, being very keen. So, and you guys have seen me repost things on my page or things about autism when it says autistic people can typically see the things that most people cannot see. We pay attention to the details, to the things that people are not talking about. And I actually have a lot more references, but I don't want to be disrespectful. And I am a fan of Beyonce, so I have been watching her for a long time. Blue Ivy came dancing on the stage. What did y'all say? She was stiff. We're awkward people, us autistic people. Again, not diagnosing, just saying. And then it might be genetic, right? Autism might be genetic. We also heard Kanye West call her children the R word. I think that's what he said, or I don't remember. He said something derogatory. That also ties into it because usually when people on the spectrum, and I'm talking about Kanye, we tend to be very blunt. I don't know how to say that. This is just my observation. Like, he's crazy. You understand? So he does crazy things. But crazy people, we know this. When when the community talks about Jaguar Wright telling the truth and Orlando Brown telling the truth, y'all say, but he probably telling the truth. Why do you think he's telling the truth? I think he's telling the truth because the stigma around crazy is that crazy people are not that crazy when they're saying something so emphatically or erratically, right? Like, we know that, like, he ain't really crazy. Y'all love to say that. Like, I'm going based off of y'all logic too. And I'm going to tie y'all behavior in at the end as well. I don't think everything Kanye West says is true, but I do think there is some truth to it. Did he have to say it that way? No. Is it derogatory? Yes. Did he have to put their business out there like that? No. But I do think he observed something and he said it to us. So that's another thing I'm also considering. Now let's talk about Rumi. She came on stage. She was super excited. She seemed to be what they would describe on the spectrum as emotionally dysregulated. But when I say emotionally dysregulated, I know that sounds negative, but all that speaks to is your emotions being either really high or really low. Rumi seemed to be overly excited and could seem to overly not to be able to contain herself. So people who are saying, oh, y'all just love to diagnose people, that's not what we're doing. Another fun fact about autistic people and there's people out there who like to study people. They're called anthropologists, they're called psychologists, they're called sociologists. So we talk about these things, but we're not allowed to talk about these things according to y'all because that means that we're diagnosing. Also, a little fun fact, autistic people, which I know y'all know nothing about because you guys try to just knock down any type of conversation about autism because you think you know what it is. But autistic people are referred to as little anthropologists. I don't know if you guys know this, but it is important for people to be observant and to pick things up and to make correlations and to, right, see similarities in others. It's called intelligence in other ways, like emotional intelligence. It is intelligent to be able to watch a TV show and pull things from the TV show that relate to real life and compare and contrast. It doesn't have to be projection. It doesn't mean that we are diagnosing. It means that we are doing something that you're supposed to do. This is called evolution. This is how we make new discoveries and not just do what the fuck y'all want to do, which is debate things that have already been discovered. In order to make new discoveries and evolve, you have to notice similarities, notice patterns, which is also a trait of autism, notice things that you're seeing in everyday people, sociology, anthropology, all that stuff, and question it in order to then make new discoveries. It's not projection. But you see, when black people, and I'm going to say black people because it is mostly our community, when you start to try to have a conversation about things that you've observed, you are drowned out because y'all are unintelligent and you don't know what people are saying when they use the word autism. You automatically assume that it's an insult to throw autism at Beyonce's child. Who told you that that was an insult? How do you know that's just not an observation? The fact that we never see the boy child either, sir, I think that's his name. The fact that we never see him either might speak to the fact that both of them might be on the spectrum. And if we know anything about the development of boys and girls, we develop differently. This is why there's so many late diagnosed autistic women, because if you know anything about the history of autism, it was only said to be in boys, white boys, not even black boys, just white boys, right? So and autism in boys shows up more, even more erratic than it does in girls, because we're socialized to be ladies and to behave a certain way and pressure to, be smarter and show up calmer. And from the time we are born, we show up differently. Girls and women on the spectrum are more high masking than the boys tend to be. We tend to not be hand flappers, which they say on the DSM is a trait of autism, like as far as a physical aspect. I don't flap my hands, right? And I'm grown and I've been I wasn't diagnosed, so I don't show up in the most autistic way because I've lived my life being corrected until I've been broken out of it. That's why the correct way to say it is not high functioning. We all suffer. It's high masking. Women are more high masking than men are. I don't flap my hands, but when I'm home, I even uploaded a video. I will bang. I will do that. I've been doing this shit since I was a child. And if I did that out in public, y'all would look at me crazy. So if I had to guess, this is just if Sir and Rumi are on the spectrum and they do have specifically autism, Sir is probably more erratic in behavior. Therefore, if they bring him out, he might be a runner. He might take off. Rumi might be a little bit more progressed than Sir is if they are on the spectrum. I'm just saying. So maybe even when Rumi started, what did Beyonce say? They're always holding her back. I used to be a paraprofessional. I was a one-on-one paraprofessional, and I worked in the classroom with other paraprofessionals trying to contain the kids. With autism, we have runners. People on the spectrum, there are runners. It looked like they didn't know if Rumi was going to do something. Not saying they're scared of her, not saying that she's not well behaved. It looked like they were containing her. There's another video I saw online where she's doing the dances backstage and she's sitting with a white woman and a white woman has her arm around her. It is possible that Rumi is on the spectrum. And why is that so difficult and so jarring for people to accept? Let me drown you out behavior is why there is so many undiagnosed people in the black community and just in society, because you guys will not let a conversation happen. Am I sitting here trying to diagnose her? No. But I have made an observation just like other people have. And what I think having conversations like this and people in the comment section forcing everybody to be like, she's just a happy child. It shows how fragile you are. It shows how fragile you are. And hopefully you don't have children because you're probably doing that shit to them at home. They're probably, if somebody shows a sign of something, you say, hey, shit wrong. Didn't I tell y'all like to say that? Especially people in the black community. Y'all have drunk uncles. He can't possibly be suffering from mental illness, which is a side effect. Becoming an alcoholic is a side effect of mental disability. Drug use is a side effect of mental disability. There's a lot of things. I talked to you guys yesterday about people with fucked up teeth. Sometimes that's a key indicator that somebody's on the spectrum. Somebody being overweight is a key indicator of somebody being on the spectrum. I'm not saying always. I'm saying it does need to be considered. But instead of you guys looking at those traits and saying, maybe this is something to look into, you see somebody on drugs and you judge them and you say, man, they just want to do this because they ain't shit, they lazy, they selfish, they this and that. Not that they're struggling. You see somebody who may be overweight, it's that she's not disciplined and she just, whatever y'all say about anybody, you know what I mean? Somebody got fucked up teeth. Oh, they just disgusting and nasty. Everybody has an opportunity to brush their teeth. That person just a nasty bitch. Conversations need to be had, and it's okay. What's gonna happen to you guys if the conversation is had? What the fuck is gonna happen to you guys? Are you gonna die? And I'm gonna finish it with this. Speaks to, and I'm going to talk about the black community right now, why you guys are always trying to drown things out because you want to appear so fucking excellent. Beyonce is Beyonce, and yes, she represents the black community. You guys are projecting. If Beyonce's children are on the spectrum, it doesn't take away from her greatness. You guys want perfection to be interpreted about the black community. This is why we call each other kings and queens and all that, and that's fine. But this is why I've even suggested for people to pick on y'all a little bit. If y'all don't understand the reference, go look at my videos. But because you guys are taking it too far. You are not beyond reproach. Beyonce is not beyond not having an autistic child. Y'all don't have to appear perfect. You don't. And it's okay. And I think that the people who are actually observing this and questioning it are not the ones projecting. I think the ones who are projecting are the ones trying to shut down the conversation. You're projecting fragility. You're projecting the fact that you can't have conversations or expand your mind or consider other things other than what it is that you want to be portrayed or what you already think you know. And y'all wonder why I get on here and I talk about the rigidity of the black community, which is also a trait of autism, just in case y'all was wondering. Cognitive rigidity. And then you wonder why sometimes I say, I think you guys are on the fucking spectrum. I'm just saying, all of this is allegedly, I just throw out things because I'm intelligent. And I can hear a lot because I'm not fucking fragile. But I wanted to make this video because I just think you guys need to simmer yourselves. It's okay. It's okay to have a conversation. It really is. Calm down. Everything doesn't have to be black and white. And two things can be true at the same time. They can.